In this little video, we're going to be looking at the wiring for an aftermarket fuel pump and why it's so important. So this is the little sod here. This is one of the Walbro Hellcat fuel pumps that's on my Evo. GST 525 530 is the model. I'll put it up in the video. The reason why it's on the car, like any aftermarket fuel pump, is because the car runs more power, needs more fuel, and this one is rated as one of the highest flowing pumps you can get. And also because my car runs E85, you need an E85 pump, and this pump is designed for E85. So that's why we've got this pump. But when I got the car, the previous owner said that it was having an issue blowing fuses every now and again on the fuel pump between the battery and the relay. And I didn't think kind of anything of it. I just replaced the wiring with same size wiring as it was to the actual pump itself, which was kind of factory with the plug. And I just replaced the relay with a new relay that had a fuse in it, and didn't think anything more of it, and it worked, and I thought, I've solved it, job's a good one. Anyway, the other day I was working on the car, one of my other videos, where I was fitting the rear seat delete, and just by chance I started playing with the relay and realised that I couldn't get the fuse out of the relay and wondered why I couldn't do that. So this is our relay here, took it off the car, and you can see that where the fuse was sat, it's actually melted the casing of the relay. Sorry if you can hear my stomach there. The fuse itself is absolutely fried and dead and binned, but just imagine a nice plastic fuse completely melted. Just take a blowtorch to one, you'll get an idea of what it looked like. So very lucky that I found it, and obviously if I hadn't found it, it would have failed or could have caused a fire or something, so that wouldn't have been great. Why did it do it? So the reason why this happened and happens, and the reason for this video, hopefully this will be helpful to some people that either have this issue or are thinking about an aftermarket fuel pump. This is something to consider before you install it, is that factory wiring is 16 gauge, 18 gauge. It's pretty thin wire, and it does the job for factory components, factory fuel pumps and so on. But when you fit an aftermarket fuel pump, like the Walbro in this instance, which is insane how much current it draws, I realise now, the wiring just isn't up to the job. And if you are pulling too much current through a wire that's too thin, the wire's just going to overheat, and obviously that can then lead to melting, fire, component failure, all kinds of things. So what you need to do is, when you fit in your aftermarket fuel pump, you need to make sure what the max current is of that fuel pump. I'll put up in this video what the Hellcat is, and you can see how crazy it is. You need to know what that max current is, and then you need to make sure that your wiring supports that. Mine didn't. So after much interneting, I kind of discovered and realised that the wiring that you don't need any more than this, is 10 gauge, AWG 10 gauge wire. You don't need any more than that for kind of any fuel pump of this type, and I think this fuel pump is one of the craziest in terms of the draw that it needs. With this thin wall AWG 10 gauge wire, whatever you want to call it, with this wiring that's now installed in the car, that can handle up to 50 amps. So I know that my 26, 27 amps, whatever this fuel pump can pull, I know that the wiring can more than easily cope with that. And obviously, because I've got decent wiring in, you're removing like a weak link there for the fuel pump, because the fuel pump now is getting all the current it needs without any issues with the wiring, which means that the fuel pump is behaving itself better as well. So kind of win-win all round. But I will show you kind of what I've done in the boot, because obviously everything's in the car, but I'll give you an idea of what the wiring looks like and kind of what I've done and things. And then we need to finish the job off by fitting the fuse that's now remote to the relay. So can you spot the difference between these wires? This is the fuel pump wire, which is like factory original thickness, which obviously from this point needs to be a hell of a lot thicker. This here is 10 gauge wire. So if you look at the thickness of this wire, it is huge compared to this. It's more than double. And this is what you need. You don't need any more than that. This is what you need for your car. Get it from any automotive store. You can get it from eBay, Amazon. It's not even expensive, so you don't really have any excuses why you shouldn't be using this stuff. So let's go and take a look at the car, and I'll kind of show you where I'm up to with it and what's left to do. So hopefully you can see this okay. So this is our relay here, Bosch one. It's 12 volt, 40 amp. I'll put that up in the video, the part number for it. I think I got it off Amazon. But we have our earth wire here in 10 gauge, which is for the relay. And then we have 10 gauge wire going to the battery. Then we have the standard car loom wire, which is the trigger, the switch for the relay, that's going to the front. And then we have our power wire, which is 10 gauge, going from the relay to the fuel pump, which is over there somewhere. I forgot my keys, so I can't show you, but you don't really need to see that. I mean, it's just a case of wiring, replacing wiring. There's loads of videos that show you how to wire in a relay, a 4-pin relay on a car. But give me a shout if you need any help. But now that all that stuff is done, the last thing we need to do is we need to fit our fuse holder, which was a bit of a dilemma for me because I wasn't sure what to buy in terms of fuse holders. Because did I want something crazy? Did I not need something crazy? I found on Amazon, put up the part number in the video, I found a Hella fuse holder, which is complete overkill. It was 8 gauge wiring, so I'm keeping that because it might come in handy for something in the future. But I found this here, so it's off-grid tech from Amazon. It was really cheap, and it is a 10 gauge wire and a fuse holder that's rated up to 40 amps. So here's my 40 amp fuses. Here's my fuse holder. Let's get them on the car. So there we go, job done. Our little fuse holder there, sorry, all nice and neat and tucked away, fuse in place, job done. Hopefully with all of these things, with the fuse holder, the fuse, the relay, the upgraded wiring, the upgraded earths, hopefully that will remove any potential issues I might have with this crazy fuel pump in the future. And yeah, just always remember to check before you install your aftermarket fuel pump, check the current, check the draw of the fuel pump, and make sure your wiring is up to it. That is it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you found this useful.